Today we'll start new topic. We have already studied functions with no arguments and functions with required arguments. And today we'll start a new method which is called function with arbitrary length arguments. Arbitrary means you can pass any number of arguments, either 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can say you can pass an array, just like we pass array in C, C++. Similarly, we need to pass list or tuple in Python, and for that we use functions with arbitrary length arguments, because a list can have any number of elements, a tuple can have any number of elements, so we can pass that by using this method. So this is the journal syntax. First of all, we have to write def, then function name, and in parentheses we'll write asterisk and then variable arguments tuple. So we can specify here either list or tuple, where all the elements of list or tuple will be passed by the function call over here, right? So if a tuple or a list has 10 elements, then all 10 elements will be passed over here and it will be fetched by this variable. You can see that this is something like pointer variable that we study in C or C++. That means it will hold the address of the first element of the list, and then all the rest of the elements will be get from that address. And after that, we need to put colon. And this is just as previous. This is just a comment which we give in double quotes. This is called docstring. And then statements which a function has to perform, and then return expression. Suppose if we are returning some result, some output, then we'll return by using the return statement. An asterisk preceding the variable name is intended to hold the values of all non-keyword arbitrary arguments. This tuple remains empty if no additional arguments are specified during the function call. Now let's understand through a program how it works. Suppose I have this program, definition, variable, func. We have given an appropriate name, that means it will take variable arguments, def variable func, and then in parentheses we'll give asterisk list. And then we have put colon, and we have given a comment, this function prints variable passed as arguments. And then we have applied for loop over here, which will print all the elements of the list, and then we'll return back. So let's see in the function call how we have passed variable length arguments. You can see this is a function name, which is same as that of this name, variable underscore function, func. And then in parentheses, we are passing 10 values, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So all these 10 values will be passed and will be fetched by this list argument. Fine. And now we'll print all the elements by using the for loop. For I in list, first of all, it will get the first element, which is 10, and print it. And then automatically it will update to the second element, which is 20, and then print it. Then it will augment to the third element, print it. And then it will move to the fourth element and print all the elements of the list. So by this way, we can see that we can exhaust or we can fetch or traverse an entire list by passing it to a function. So this is very important type of a function where we can pass any number of arguments to the function through the function call to the function definition. I think this is clear to you. You can see the output. It will print all the elements in the order in which they are passed. Now the next type is functions with keyword based arguments. This is also a new type which we didn't study in C or C++. Functions with keyword based arguments. Here it is something like Python dictionary. How we pass keyword based arguments? Let's see through an example. First of all, it's syntax. See, we have written def employee info, then employee ID and name. We have given two variables, employee ID and name, and then colon. We are simply printing print employee ID and print name and then return. And in the function call, how we are passing the values, employee info, name is equal to John and imp ID is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. So we are passing the values based on their key values, keys and names. These are, you can say these are keys of the dictionary and these are their respective values. You can see that in the function call, the first argument is name and the second one is employee ID. But here in the function definition, first argument is employee ID and other one is name. Even then, the right values will be passed over here. Employee ID will be inserted over here and name will be inserted in the name because we have passed keyword based arguments. Now, if we print imp ID, it will print 1, 2, 3, 4. And when we are going to print name, it will print John. So order doesn't matter, only keywords matter. Which value we have supplied to the key, that value will be passed. So this is also another type of function calling. So this is the respective output. First employee ID is printed and then name is printed. Next is functions with default arguments. Suppose if we do not specify, do not pass value in the function call, it will get the value which is given as default in the function definition. You can understand it through an example. We have created a function employee info, def employee info, and there are three arguments, imp ID, name is equal to John, and salary is equal to 8,000. So there are three arguments. And here we are going to print it and then return. In function call, in the first function call, we have called name Harry, imp ID 4 times 1 and salary 10,000. Now the control will go over here and it will overwrite the existing values of this function definition. So the imp ID will become 1111 as we have passed, name will become Harry and salary will become 10,000 because the new values will replace the old values. So in the first output, these values will be displayed. You can see in the output also. Let me show you. See. Imp ID is 1111, Harry and 10,000 is displayed. And in the second call, we are just passing imp ID 4 times 2. That means we are passing this one. Now the imp ID will be assigned value 4 times 2. Name and salary will take the default values. You can say this, these are default values. You can say that these are called default arguments. So name will be John and salary 8,000 will be displayed in this case and imp ID will be 4 times 2. So these are called default arguments. If we do not supply value in the function call, then it takes default value which are already defined in the function definition. So this is another type of function call. All these types are very important and easy also. So I hope all of you are getting it. In this, we can see this output. So it is very clear. So this is all about different kinds of function calls with arguments, arbitrary length arguments, default arguments, required arguments, and no arguments. So these were the 5 types. And now we are going to learn another type, another kind of Python function, which is known as anonymous function. What is anonymous function? A function with no name, or you can say without any name, is referred to as anonymous function. What do you mean by anonymous? Suppose if you visit some site and you just see the content of that site, then you visit that site anonymously, not as a specific username. Just you go or visit the site as a guest, then you are treated as an anonymous user, right? Similarly, when we do not specify a function name, then we can say it, this is an anonymous function. Python supports the development of an additional type of function definition known as anonymous function. These functions are termed as anonymous because They do not follow the standard method by using the def keyword, and anonymous functions are not bound to a name. So two things are not associated with anonymous function, which are, it is not like the previous functions where we have to mention def keyword, and they do not have any specific name. So these two things are not with anonymous function. These are created at runtime using the construct known as lambda. So we use a journal name for this, which is called lambda. The syntax of lambda is as follows: lambda, argument 1, 2, so on, argument n, then colon, and then we write expression. Whatever we are going to perform, we will write in this expression after colon. So this is called anonymous function. So let's see an example of this function, how to use it. After that, we'll discuss characteristics also. This is an example. We have defined lambda function with two variables a comma b, which is going to perform multiplication of these variables, and the result will be assigned to product. And in the function call, how we'll call it? Print product is equal to 0 dot format product is equal product, and then in arguments we'll specify the value of a and b, which is 12 and 10. Then the control will go here, and then values will be assigned to a and b, a12 and b10, and then multiplication will be performed. After that, the result will be assigned to product, and it will print 120. Product is equal to 120. Then the result will automatically come back, assigned over here, and product is equal to 0, put over here, and it will display product is equal to 120. Similarly, in another function call, we are writing format product with another two values, 50 and 100. It will multiply them 500, and the result will be displayed product is equal to 500. So here we didn't give any specific function definition like def, then function name, and then colon, then in indented block of statements. So this is just like macro that we use in C or C++, a single line statement. So this is called lambda function, or you can say anonymous function in Python. So let's go through its characteristics once. What are its characteristics? Lambda form can take multiple arguments as shown in the syntax, and returns only one value computed through the expression. So it is very clear, it can have any number of arguments and it will return the result which is computed in expression. Automatically, whatever be the result is returned back. We no need to write the return statement over here. We are skipping def and return in anonymous function or lambda function. It does not contain multiple line of statement block as in standard Python functions. I already told you, it contains only an expression. It does not contain any long statement block. Since an expression is required in lambda form, direct call to print function cannot be made in lambda form of anonymous function. That means we cannot write print statement instead of expression. We have to compute the expression only. Instead of expression, we will not use the print statement over here. We will just perform computation at that place after the colon. As no additional statements can be written in lambda form, it has only local namespace. That means it can use only those variables that are passed as arguments to it or which are in the global scope. So it is very clear, since in the example we have studied, we have used two variables a and b. So whatever variable values are passed, it will work on it, or whatever variables are declared in global scope, that means globally, only those variables will be used. It cannot declare its own variables in its block because there is no block in lambda form. So new variables cannot be declared. So this point is very important. You cannot declare new variables in lambda functions. Next is lambda form cannot be considered as C, C++ inline function as they contain only single line of statement. We cannot call it as an inline function that we study in C, C++ because inline function also has the same syntax as that of the normal function. But this is not an inline function. This is called lambda form or anonymous function. The concept of Python anonymous function is entirely different from C, C++ inline function and can be used with typical function concepts. So all these statements I think clear to you. They are very important, and this is a new kind of function in Python. There is another example given to compute product without using lambda, which is by using simple function. If you want to compare them, by using simple function, we'll write def product a comma b. This is docstring, which is printing. This function computes product of two numbers. Print product 0 dot format a into b, then return. And in product, we are calling 10, 20. So this is normal form of function, and in above program, we have studied how lambda function is computed. So you can compare these two programs and see the difference. Next is pass by value versus pass by reference. This is also very important concept. We have studied in C also. Pass by value versus pass by reference. Pass by value means we pass the value to a function. The copy of the value will be passed. And in pass by reference, we pass the address of the variables. This is called pass by reference. So what is pass by value? This concept can be understood by considering the program. Let's see the program. Def update list. This function updates the past values. List is equal to 100, 200 and 300. Print inside function list return. Here we have created a list. List is equal to 1, 2, 3. Then we are calling this function, which is defined over here, with this list values 1, 2 and 3. So let's see, update function is called with these three values. They are passed over here 1, 2, 3. And here we have given new values to the list 100, 200 and 300. And then inside function, we are going to print the list. Now, which value will be displayed? Which is passed or which is updated over here? So you can see that the new value, which is 100, 200, 300 will be displayed. You can see in the output and then return. After returning from the function list, it displays the value 1, 2, 3. After returning from the function, it is displaying 1, 2, 3. That means the values which we have passed over here, either we have passed 1, 2, 3, but after changing the values, the new values will be displayed inside the function body because they are in their local scope. They are not in the global scope. That's why new values are displayed, not the previous ones. And when it comes back, returns back over here, then it displays these values. New updated values are not displayed. That means these list values are only in the scope of 100, are only in the scope of this block, which are 100, 200 and 300. And here, this is in its local scope, 1, 2, 3, it displays 1, 2, 3 only. So this is the example of call by value. The new values are not displayed. In this block, 100, 200, 300 are displayed, and in this block only 1, 2, 3 is displayed. Now see another example. Pass by object reference. In this, how we can update new values? We can only update values. Here is no concept like pointer we use in C, like to change or swap the values by passing their address value. Let's see, we can just append new values to the list. We cannot actually replace the values. Let's see, we have created the same list function, def update list dot append. We are going to append these values to the existing values, and then inside function it will display these values and then it will return. And here we are creating the same list with three values 1, 2, 3, and we are passing these values as an argument. Update list. def update list, it is going with these three values. These three values are received over here, and then we are going to append these three values to the list by using the append method of list, which we have already studied. List.append 100, 200 and 300. And then we are going to print it. You can see inside function 1, 2, 3, 100, 200, 300 is displayed. And after returning from the function, it is again displaying the complete set of list by nesting this list along with the previous one. So you can see that the pointer concept that we use in C is not implemented over here. Fine, we can just append a new list after that, but we cannot replace the value by using object passed by reference. You can use append method. I think this concept is clear to you. Only append method can update new values. After observing the results of both call by value and call by reference, it is perceived that in Python language, the arguments are passed by object reference intrinsically. Any change made to the argument in the function definition does not affect the object on the function call side. However, if any built-in function such as append is associated with the function argument in the function definition, then it definitely makes changes to the object and the object values get updated on both function definition as well as function call. So it is clear from here also. By using methods, we can change values of some functions, but by just accessing the values, we cannot change them. So this is call by value and call by reference in Python. It is not like C where we can swap the values by passing their addresses. I think this concept is clear to you.